1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Mike Hedding here, coming to you today with a mandolin lesson for the old blues song, House of the Rising Sun. This song's been done by a ton of people over the years. It's a great old blues song. Sometimes it's done in 6/8 or 3/4 time, but I converted it to 4/4 to make it a little more bluegrass friendly. I think it sounds a little bit, when we're playing it in bluegrass style, playing it in 4/4 sounds a little bit better. So I've got two solos for this song, The House of the Rising Sun. The first one is just going to go over the absolute basic melody, which is super important when you're learning a new song. This was one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first started playing mandolin, is I learned these kind of complex solos to simple tunes, but then I didn't have an understanding of what's the basic melody, what were the ornaments, what were kind of the extra fluff, and then I wouldn't know how to simplify it to play the basic melody when I needed to, which is super important. When you start creating your own variations to songs, you absolutely need to know what the basic melody is. Otherwise, it's not going to sound like House of the Rising Sun when you add more ornaments, more up and down picking. And that's what we're going to do for the second solo. So after we learn the basic melody, we're going to look at spicing it up. So adding more hammer-ons, adding slides, adding more alternate picking, a bunch of stuff, adding some double stops, so playing two notes at the same time. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. I'm going to break down both solos note for note in detail and then show you a bunch of backup I would do. So this song has a bunch of cool chords. It changes pretty quick, and I'm going to go over all the chords and how I would do some down the neck kind of strumming, how I do some basic bluegrass chop chords. I'm going to break that down as well. And if you're watching the preview of this lesson, you can head over to my website, MikeHeddingMusic.com, and grab the full-length lesson. You'll get access to watch all the videos, and you can download the tabs and the practice tracks. All right, here's House of the Rising Sun for mandolin. All right, let's start breaking down this basic melody to House of the Rising Sun in the key of E minor. Let me play the first 5 measures of the basic melody, and then we'll start breaking it down. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Let's do that a couple times, a little faster. 1, 2, 3. One more time, even faster. 1, 2, 3. So for this basic melody, we're going to use all downstrokes. We'll add some alternate picking in the bluegrass style solo, but for this first basic melody solo, we're going to use all downstrokes with our right hand. We're going to start on our pickup in measure 1 on beat 4. So 1, 2, 3, and then hit the open D string on beat 4, 4. And then for measure 2, we're going to put our first finger on the 2nd fret of the D string and play that on beat 1. So 1, 2, 3. Let's do it. That's not too hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay. And then that's going to be a dotted half note. So a half note is 2 beats. We have 4 quarter notes per measure, so a half note is 2 quarter notes. A dotted half note adds half of an extra half note, so 1 1/2, so 3 beats total. So you get a half note plus a half of a half note, which is a quarter note, so 3 beats. So we're going to play that note, and we're going to really let it ring out. So make sure you get plenty of tone with your right hand. 1, 2, 3, and then keep this finger down. We're going to add our 2nd finger on the 4th fret of the D string and play that on beat 4. And then on beat 1 of measure 3, we're going to add our 3rd finger. So I'd really encourage you to keep these ones down behind it. Kind of think of, basically this is your lifeline to the next note, and then that note becomes your lifeline to the next note. It's really going to help you smooth out the song and not make it as choppy. If you can kind of connect those tones, it'll also help your stretching practice with your left hand, which is good practice. So we have 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's do that a couple times, not too hard. 1, 2, 3. So that's the "there is a house" part of the basic melody. And then right here, we're going to play this 5th fret on the D string one more time on beat 3. So the 5th fret in measure 3 is just a half note. 1, 2, and then play that 5th fret again. And then move your first finger to the 2nd fret of the A string and play that note. So you have good practice on your left hand of keeping this note down and adding that note. If you're back too much like this, you won't be able to do that. So it helps you get the correct wrist angle if you keep that note down. So we have, and then measure 4, open A string. So take your left hand off, open A string, and then down to the 2nd fret on the D string. And so you do a quarter note followed by a dotted half note. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do that a couple times. So 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. And then right here for measure 5, keep your first finger down, add your 3rd finger to the 5th fret of the D string, and play that note for a half note on beat 1 of measure 5. And then we're going to go up to the A string and play 2, 5, beats 3 and 4. So we're using a lot of dotted half notes, a lot of half notes for this basic melody. The melody has longer notes, and we'll look at in the bluegrass style solo, how do you fill up those longer notes with more picking. But for the basic melody, what's really good practice here is counting practice and kind of connecting the tones. So we have, so really try and connect all those notes, make it as smooth as possible. Make sure you're getting plenty of volume with your right hand. That's going to help you connect those notes. So we play that 2, 5 on beats 3 or 4 of measure 5. And then we're going to go up to the open E string and play that for a dotted half note. And then play that again on beat 4. Back to the 5th fret on the A string for a half note. And then 2nd fret on the A string, open A, and then 2nd fret for a whole note. So that's "they call the rising sun" part. So let's do that a few times. That's the end of measure 5 into the beginning of measure 8. A couple more times, a little faster. Okay, so that's the first 8 measures. Let's play the first 8 measures. Here we go. One more time. And then let that note ring out for all of measure 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can really keep it down for the first 2 half notes, or the first half note of measure 9, or you can take it off. But then on beats 3 and 4 of measure 9, we're gonna play that 2, 5 again. So really count measure 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then open E string again. This is the same as measure 6. So a dotted half note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the 5th fret on the A string. And then right here, you're going to have to move your 3rd finger down to the 5th fret of the D string, and then 2nd fret A. So let's practice that. So we have, one more time. And then measure 12, open A string, 2nd fret on the D, and then play that note one more time on beat 4. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then keep that finger down, add your 3rd finger to the 5th fret of the D string for a dotted half note. 1, 2, 3. Back to that 2nd fret. 4, 1. And then 5th fret, beat 4 of measure 14. This is our little ending lick. 2nd fret on the A. open A string, 4th fret on the D string, and then 2nd fret. So let's play that measures 9 through 16. So we have do that a couple times. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So I really encourage counting it out. I mean, count it out loud at first if you need to. If you can't count it, you know, it's going to be hard to play it. You know, the counting gives you the confidence that you're playing it right. Otherwise, you're kind of shooting at a target where you're not sure what it is. If you don't know the count, how do you know if you're playing it right? So, okay, so that's down to measure 16. That's the whole basic melody. So let's play the whole thing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. So that's the whole basic melody. Now let's look at expanding that with adding some more up and down picking, some more alternate picking, adding some hammer-ons, some slides, just some basic ways to fill up that melody. All right, let's take it from measure 17. Now that we've got the basic melody down, let's look at adding some ornaments to the bluegrass style solo. So a common theme to this solo is we're going to take some of the longer notes we played in the basic melody and fill them up with alternate picking. So instead of just playing a one single long note, which is good practice when you're learning the melody and learning to count, but kind of in real life music, it's not necessarily that interesting just to play one long note and let it hang out. At least on mandolin. If you had a violin, you know, where you can play a really long bow and pull that note, you know, it might be more practical to do those kind of long bow lines. In mandolin, our kind of equivalent of that is either tremolo or in this case just up and down picking. So that's kind of our equivalent of playing a long bow on mandolin, is filling it up with alternate picking. And you can always find the picking below the tab. So the staple looking cymbals are downstrokes, the V looking cymbals are upstrokes. So we're going to use downstrokes on the downbeats, upstrokes on the upbeats, okay? So that's going to be kind of the basic idea that I applied to this bluegrass style solo. We didn't really stray that far away from the melody. This song has a great melody, so we don't really need to do a crazy improvisation on the melody. We just want to fill it up with little ornaments, fill it up with a little more alternate picking. So that's all we really did there. So let's break down the first 5 measures. Let me play it first, then we'll start breaking it down. Here we go. 1. Let's do that a few times. 1. Okay, so we're going to start this time on beat 2, so our pickup's going to be a little bit longer. So count beat 1, then we're going to play the 2nd fret on the D string with our first finger, and then go down to the G string and play 4th fret with your 2nd finger, and then open D string. And this is going to be our first upstroke, so we're doing down, down, up. And then back to the 2nd fret again. So you have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then for measure 18, we're going to do a hammer-on. So open 2 hammer-on, and then a down, up, and then one more downstroke. And then 4th fret on the D string with your 2nd finger. So we basically just filled up those first 3 beats. Instead of just playing one long note, 1, 2, 3, 4, we did a hammer-on, and then filled it up with up and down picking. Remember, the hammer-on takes the place of a picked note, so you don't do a down up initially. You play that hammer-on with just a down, and then do a down up pick, and then one more down, and then 4th fret. So that's all we're doing there. just fill that up with a hammer on and more picking. So 1,